Ah, the parallels between me and Mr. Sammet, oh, they cannot be ignored. So let's go. There is a man in Germany who, at 14 years old, looked at the world and decided that what it needed was more scale, more ambition, more voice, more story, more everything. His name is Tobias Sammet. And if you've never heard of him, that says less about him than it does about the walls we build around what we let ourselves listen to. In February of 1992, four students from the small city of Fulda, Germany, 14-year-olds filled with nothing but teenage passion, formed a band and named it after their math teacher's nickname. Ed Guy was born. Not in a major city, not with industry connections, not with money, in Fulda, a city most people couldn't find on a map. And I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida, building my empire in Atlanta. I've been writing the Seven Dust Saga since 2004, since before most of the people who will eventually read it were even born. I knew what a JRPG was. I know what it means to build something massive from a place nobody's watching. I know what it means to start with just the idea and refuse to let go of it. Tobias Sammet is the patron saint of that exact experience. They sent their demo tapes to record labels. Every single one rejected them, believing they would have no future in the music business. Every single one. Undeterred, they self-released their debut album, Savage Poetry, in 1995. Nobody asked for it, just like nobody's asking for my work. Nobody greenlit it. Nobody gave them permission. They made the thing and released it into the world because it existed and it deserved to exist. Sound familiar? That's not stubbornness, that's faith. Faith in the work when no institution will validate it. I self-publish. I've been building Climb Hazard Studios with my own hands, and I have heard in so many ways, from so many directions, from actions, some version of nobody's going to read that. And every time I hear it, I think about Tobias Sammet, 14 years old in Fulda, mailing demo tapes to a wall of rejection and continuing anyway. But here's where the story becomes something else entirely. In the spring of 1999, during Ed Guy's Theater of Salvation tour, Tobias Sammet began to outline his ideas for a metal opera concept album featuring a number of guest musicians. And the final result was fire. He had a band, a successful one, a band with a following, a label, a career trajectory that made sense, and he looked at all of that and said, this isn't big enough yet. He didn't just want to write songs, he wanted to write worlds. He wanted to build something that could hold Alice Cooper, Roy Khan, and Michael Kiske and Jorn Land, legends from across the entire spectrum of rock and metal, all under one roof, all serving one story. He wanted a metal opera, he wanted Avantasia, and we got it! The name itself is a blend of Avalon and Fantasia, a portmanteau, if you would, describing, in his own words, a world beyond human imagination. A world beyond human imagination. I've been building Gistoa, a planet orbiting a red dwarf in the Magellanic Cloud, with a violet sky and a silver moon named Eris, and a 1700-year-old bloodline of fire wielders and an android who was given a soul. Since 2004, I named my second saga after Tobias Sammet himself, not as tribute, but as canon, because the joy and trepidation of the Sammet saga demanded a name that carried weight, and there's no weight in my vocabulary heavier than what this man has built. He said it himself, in art there is my way or no way, and I owe you and me that honest self-determination. My way or no way. Hell, that's the climb hazard doctrine too. That's why I threw out the grok draft that injected red pill framing into my mess essay. That's why I write architectural sentence density that editors would call too dense and I call intentional. That's why every scene in the Seven Dust Saga either is something or builds towards something. Because Tobais Sammet taught me through Avantasia that the only thing worse than ambition is ambition, diluted by committee. When asked what keeps him coming, what keeps him writing subversive, massive theatrical music even now, he said, I'm still not comfortable. Sounds awfully damn familiar, doesn't it? Isaac Brock said the same thing. And like I said, comfort is a luxury I can seldom afford. And that, but yeah, there it is again. And that's the same answer I give every time someone asks why I'm still at the desk at 2 a.m. Because the work isn't done, because the world isn't built yet, because my daughter hasn't read this yet, because the story isn't finished. Now, in 2026, after nearly a decade of Ed Guy's hiatus, the announcement has come. Ed Guy is returning to the stage for the first time in 10 years. The band that couldn't agree what key to start a song in has found its way back to the same stage. Some stories apparently don't end, they just hibernate. The band shared a simple statement with the announcement: some stories deserve a final chapter. Let's write ours together. Tobias Sammet has been running on that same engine for 34 years, a kid from a city nobody's heard of who decided that the world owed him a stage and then went out and built the stage himself. Damn, that clap hurt. I have never had my hands hurt so much from clapping them. Damn nerve damage. A kid from a city nobody's heard of decided that the world owed him a stage and then went out and built the stage himself. His name is in my cosmology. His philosophy is in my marrow. His refusal to shrink is the permission I give myself to grow as large as I am. Grand Maestro to Grand Maestro. Thank you, Toby. Stay weird. Peace.